Hello everyone, SG Caper, and I'm painting again. On my Facebook page, I asked if anyone would be interested in seeing me paint this little guy. This is a accessory figure that came with a Batman, and the tail was removable to be used as a sword, but I've glued it in. I've primed the figure, and then I've trimmed the mouth so that you can actually see the teeth instead of it was originally just solid. So I asked if anybody would be interested in watching me paint it. A few people said yes, so I'm painting. Here we go. Now I'm painting it to look like a desert wolf because I'm kind of on a desert kick right now, and I have a picture of it next to me so I know what it looks like, and I'll put one into the video for you to see. So I'm going to start with a little bit of Citadel Layer Screaming Skull. Start with that. And if you ever see a picture of a desert wolf, it has a very light underbelly. And so that's what I'm going to do. Going to do a nice light underbelly. I'm really not worried about perfection or anything on this. I don't worry about that really ever. But especially in this, because this is a robotic animal, so at the end I will end up probably doing some sort of weathering of some sort. Sorry, I was just looking at the picture real quick, trying to figure out the places where this would make the most sense. And it's the mouth, lower parts, yeah, a little bit here. Now, I don't know why somebody on my Facebook page suggested I make it a winter version of a wolf, and yeah, just not on a winter kick. I don't know about you, but sometimes I just get into a kind of a theme of what I'm working on. There's a month, a couple years back, where I did all divers. Every figure I did was some sort of diver for a month, and then I've done months where I'm doing cartoon characters, and months where I do lots of zombies. It's whatever I feel in the moment, and that's what I go with right now. Because of that massive Sand Viper project I worked on and finished finally, I'm on desert kick. So I just did the Sand Viper, and I've done a desert scorpion, Cobra Desert Scorpion. So now on to this. Looks like the underside of the tail. I'm gonna get a bigger brush to do the underside of the tail. This is a Transon 2-0 brush, and I'm going to do, again, this tail was originally supposed to be taken out and used as a accessory for the Batman figure that it came with. I bought it just for this wolf, and I don't really need it to be a sword. The handle's really thick. It's one of those kitty Batman figures. We'll see if I can find it and put it in the video. And I just didn't fit what I wanted, but I really like the sculpt of this dog, or wolf. It doesn't have any articulation at all, but it's still a really cool piece, and it'll look good with figures as a dio piece. So here we go. A little more paint. A little more. Like I said, not worried about perfection, just wanted to get it on there. Alright, now looking at these pictures, the lower legs are pretty light. So what I'm going to do is figure on the front legs, this looks like a joint. So from about here down, and this is got pretty decent panel lines, so I'm trying to kind of follow those a little bit. And see how it comes out. Hopefully this dog comes out okay, this wolf. Doesn't look like crap when I'm done. We'll see shortly. And hopefully this video doesn't take so long. It's been taking me a long time to post these videos. I have a pretty new computer. My wife got it for me. And it's got, you know, all the memory and everything, and it's just getting these off the computer is just, well, it's not even the computer, it's the cloud. I don't know if any of you other Apple users, I hate the Apple Cloud. I hate that I can't. I want to go turn off my Apple Cloud because I just really don't like it. I really don't like it. And it told me if I did that, I would lose my entire desktop. Now, I do have it backed up on an external hard drive, but it's not really something I want to deal with. And so if I turned off the cloud so that everything I did was saved directly to the desktop, I'd lose my desktop. I'd lose everything that's already there. And it's just a huge pain in the ass. I don't understand it, Apple. What the hell happened? I got into Apple years ago, and it was so convenient. Everything just worked. Everything worked together. The original iPhone worked. I could put something in my calendar on my phone, and it would go right to my computer. And it'll still do that, but then it's duplicated. Sometimes it's put in triple. I don't understand what the hell they did. Not a fan that much anymore, but I'm so used to it now that I can't give it up. And I've had such nightmare issues with PCs. I don't want to use them. All right, almost done with the legs. Now, again, this is going to get some weathering. It's going to get more than likely a wash. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do, is I'll do a wash. I'll do some silver first, and you'll see me doing that. Then I'll do a wash, and then I'll do a little more silver, just to really sell the mechanical aspect of this thing. Now it is Easter right now where I am, and I hope you had a good Easter. This was the first Easter we had at home in 10 years. We usually go to a friend of mine, a friend of ours, well, guy I went to high school with. It's the only person I still keep in touch with regularly. And for the last 10 years, we've done every Easter over there. We've done Easter over there with since our daughter was born, since we were dating, my wife and I. Our daughter's done every Easter there. So it was a little weird this year. How was your Easter? If you celebrate. It's just very odd. All right, now looking at it, it has a very multi-layered coat in terms of color. So I'm going to take this color, I'm going to put some up here on the shoulder blades a little, and this is going to end up getting covered some by the next colors, but I want to have it there. Just to, if anything, it'll just show me what I'm doing to guide me. This sculpt is really nice, and I wish it was articulated. I really do. It's not. But you know what? The original Joe figures came with animals. You had Mutt and Junkyard, Snake Eyes and Timber, Law and Order, Spirit, and Freedom, Shipwreck, and Polly. None of them were articulated, and I didn't mind, so it's not the end of the world. Now you can see I made a totally big mistake right there. Doesn't matter, because they'll be painted over. That's going to be a darker color. All I'm doing is trying to even out the paint a little bit. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want it to coat just to make sure all the colors there. Because I do want it to look nice. Now, I might be doing some videos. I may have picked up a big commission, may have. I don't do a lot of commission work, but somebody approached me and sent me a message and said they were a fan and wanted to know my prices. I gave them my initial spiel about my prices and deposit requirements and whatnot. They stayed interested, so maybe I'll be doing some videos with those. Now I'm gonna go one shade. Ooh, good thing I checked that. I'm gonna go one shade darker than this Screaming Skull, and I'm gonna go with the Ushabti Bone. So I'm gonna use that same brush, and I'm not gonna clean it. Hope you have learned by now I don't really like cleaning my brushes until the end, then they get cleaned. Now it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit darker than that first one. And that's fine. You probably can't tell in the video, it probably looks the same. Quite honestly, it looks the same here. But it's not. Alright. Let's get some. Let's see. Let's go over these little guys. Don't know what these are. These are going to get painted something different, but these shapes there can be painted. Alright. Sorry, I'm realizing that this has probably been painted off camera for most of this. Sorry. Okay. This side. So I don't really know what I'm doing with this one. Just kind of feeling it out as I go. What makes sense. Trying to paint panels. Realized in the last video I was sniffling a lot. I don't know why, and I apologize. It's gross. Maybe I'm allergic to my own bullshit. I don't know. Okay. Citadel Layer Carrick Stone. This is a couple shades darker. And now you're really going to be able to start seeing the differences in color. This is the same tan that I used on my Sand Vipers. Really like this tan. I get quite a bit. I don't know why my voice isn't working so well today. Went for a nice hike this afternoon. Well, yeah, around noon. Took my daughter, my wife and I took our daughter hiking. She's been hiking with me since she was 4 months old. We got her to walk almost 3.5 miles in the woods, which is good. She's definitely, her stamina is definitely increasing, which is great. When she was little, I would carry her on a chest carrier. We would hike for miles and miles and miles. Now she's bigger, can't carry her anymore. And I still want to go fast. She's a kid, she wants to check everything out. She wants to look at everything, and that's good. That's what I want. I want her to be curious. I don't want to tell her no, we can't look at the cool plants or some neat animal or bug that she sees. Brought a set of binoculars. We were looking at some stuff. It was fun. If you have the chance to take your kids hiking, do it. It's worth it. All right. So this is looking pretty good. Yeah. I guess I don't have a lot to say today. Sorry. This is a long day. Good day, but a long day. Different day. Just got word. So the mayor of New York City said teachers aren't going back to school at all this year. And then the governor of New York State said it's not up to the mayor to decide. That's up to him. So now they're having kind of a pissing contest over who gets to decide the fate of New York City teachers and students. And it's really annoying. We're not respected by either politician at all. We're not respected by most people, to be honest. When I started teaching many years ago, I would tell all my friends, become a teacher. It's great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved every aspect of it. And I've watched as it's gone from something I love to just, it's almost unbearable. Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm allowed to be in my room teaching my kids, that's amazing. That's the best part. That's why I became a teacher, is to teach. So it's not the kids. It's not even the parents per se. It's the politics, and the politics have poisoned everybody. And when it becomes about paperwork rather than the kids, that's what gets me angry. All right, so we got 3 different tans on here. It's really sloppy. It doesn't look very good right now. It doesn't look like a whole lot of anything, to be honest. And if this doesn't come out nice, you won't be seeing this video. Ha ha ha. I don't know how to edit sound, so that's stuck in there. If you know how to edit stuff, let me know. I'm using a iMovie for what little editing I do. All right, there's that. I'm gonna look at the picture. I'm gonna go just clean my brush. First time I've cleaned the brush since we started. Get it nice and dry. I'm gonna go, whoops. That's another project I'll record, making some exclusive figures for a convention I was going to do that got canceled, and hopefully will come back soon. So this is just another shade darker. I gotta get a new chair. Said in the other video the other day that you're probably gonna find me falling on my ass. I'd rather not be on video, but probably will be. Still haven't clipped my nails. Sorry. Busy day. Wasn't that busy. It absolutely could have taken me 2 minutes to clip my nails. Didn't think of it. Someone's going, damn, he's obsessed with his nails. No, not really. They should be clipped. Now, I'm still painting kind of messy. I am trying to pay a little more attention to all these different seams. And what I might do at the end, we'll see how it looks. I might go in with a Gundam marker and draw in some of these seams if it makes it look good. We'll see. I bought some Gundam markers for some other projects, and I like them. I really do. I used to do Gundams when I was younger. Got out of them as I got older. Not because I wanted to get out of them or anything. It just it started to get so expensive, and just didn't want to spend the money on them. So I stopped. So no one has asked, but I just use a piece of printer paper, fold it in half, and I use that as my palette for my paints. Don't really have a story for this wolf yet. I have a character I'd like to put it with. See if I can make a character, the character that I want to make, and have it look as cool as I want it to look. Alright, next color. I'm going to go brown. I'm not cleaning the brush, and I'm in fact going to be mixing this brown with the 3 different tans I have sitting on this paper to lighten it up a little bit. And this brown is the Citadel Base Morn Fang Brown. Alright, time to get serious here. Now, I don't mind if these other colors show through, because as you saw in the picture that I'm going to attach to this, the colors, like a lot of dogs, just change a little as the animal moves, and the top coat and undercoat are exposed and covered. And well, that's not going to happen with this because it's a robot. Who's to say it doesn't have some sort of skin on it that allows it to morph and change color a little bit? Certainly not I. That's the thing, you can do whatever you want. You know, Bob Ross had it right. There's no mistakes, it's happy accidents. Do what makes you happy. Okay. Getting a little closer. Gonna go with a Citadel Layer Skaven Blight Dinge. It's a dark gray. And I'm actually gonna mix that in with that tan too. Make it an interesting, like, rust kind of color. Let's see. All right. So now I'm going to go a little slower. Not much. So I want to really try and start putting the paint in the areas I want. I really need some music. Painting without music is not as fun as painting with music. What music do you play? Do you paint with? Let me know. I will either play 80s punk or 90s alternative and grunge. I wasn't a big grunge fan back in the day. I really wasn't. I was more of a punk kid. But as I've gotten older, I've become a little more nostalgic for the punk, because that was what was on the radio. Stuff I was listening to, I had to find, and it was never what was on if I was in the car, or things like that. So this is not looking very good, to be quite honest. I'm a little disappointed, but it's not done. So let's keep going. Now that the tan is drying, the more paint I take, the grayer it's getting, which is fine, because it is a pretty gray animal. Alright. Last color, and then I think I'm going to go in for all the detail stuff. And this color is going to be black. Now, I really do want to go light on this. I don't want it to be too dark. There's this bat symbol here, and I was thinking about shaving it off, but I just don't really care enough to do that, so I'm not going to. So the character that's going to end up with this, I'm going to say stole it and reprogrammed it from Batman. It's how the story's going to go. If you don't know, if you do a whole fan fiction story I created years ago, and I still work on All That Remains. It's the website's atrfromtheashes.com. Used to be allthatremainsfrombeyond.com, but after a couple years I felt like I needed to change it a little because the story was changing so much that I went with From the Ashes. The gist of the story is zombie apocalypse, and how people are dealing with it. And in it, there's everything. So I'm a G.I. Joe fan, obviously, and it's got G.I. Joe. I, in fact, created a whole new team of G.I. Joe for the story, and it's got everything. It's got Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Inc. gang. It's got Inspector Gadget. It's got Darkwing Duck. Who are some of the other characters I put in it? Penelope Pitstop and Dick Dastardly and the Wacky Races. Let's see. Captain Caveman's in there. A lot of Hanna-Barbera characters. I just did Blue Falcon. Who else? Lots of characters. All kinds of G.I. Joe. And a lot of the thing is I don't stick to existing canon. I've never been a stickler for that. I don't get super bent out of shape when things change, like when the movies change something, or even the comic books themselves, when they change things. It's creative. Let people do what they want. All right, so it's looking super messy right now. I don't know how it looks on your end, but let's keep going. Yeah, I'm going to go back to my favorite brush and start doing some detail. And I'm going to do the black. And I'm going to go in and paint the eyes. There is a nice eye sculpt in there, and I will go back and probably just go with red. Oh, son of a bitch. So for those of you just turning in, I spilled paint, didn't realize it. I got it all over the figure. Ain't that a bitch? It's all right. It's fine. All right. Let's get back to it. So, there's more. It's freaking everywhere. Things happen, folks. That's the beauty of painting. If you haven't spilled paint or made a mess or done something stupid, you're not doing it right. Paint all over my hands. It's all right. So there we go. I think I am going to break out one of those Gundam markers and see how it works. This is a Gundam marker. It's designed to go in all the panel lines on Gundam models. See if it'll work on this. This one might be dead. Yeah, this one seems dead. All right, I have more. How many more, you might ask? 4, it looks like. I have 4 more. Let's try this one. Doo-doo-doo. Come on. Work with me here. This one's kind of working. Kind of not. Now there's probably someone at home yelling at me. You're not doing it the right way. Gotta use it this way. You're probably right. I can't hear you. Leave a comment. Tell me how to do it. I may read your comment. I may not read your comment. Who knows? Come on. All right. None of these seem to be working. And I am trying them out on paper. And they are... Oh, this one looks like it might work. Okay, if this one doesn't work, there's a bigger problem. Right. It's an interesting effect with all those paints. It's supposed to, I don't know, looking kind of rusty. Not entirely bad thing. Nope. last one. Ow. Okay. Come on. I was just using these the other day, and they were working fine. Of course, I go to make a video. They're not going to work. That way I look like a jackass. Go me. Yippee. I'm not going to keep messing with this. It's just not doing what I want. That's fine. Silver. Let's do the teeth. Silver. Now, when I get this, when I got it, as I said at the beginning of the video, the mouth was solid. So I had to carve it out to make the teeth look like teeth. Otherwise, it would have been, you can see there, it was solid. Now it's not. All right. I will be going back and doing some dry brushing, but before I do that, I want to go in and put in some real damage. And you don't have to, you don't want it to match, because the wear on these things isn't going to be the same, right? So you might have some corners that look worn. You might have whole areas that are worn. Who knows? There's a couple of spots where the paint started to chip off, and I just filled it in with silver. Now it looks like a crack. Let's do the claws on the feet. Figure those would be getting used a lot. So they're going to be worn. This is a really long video. 38 minutes already. It's going to take me days to freaking upload this thing. Sorry. Now, I'd prefer to do short videos. Just easier for me, shorter for you, less time you have to hear my annoying voice. But sometimes things aren't done quickly. And that's part of customizing. Now, there may be people out there who painted really nice versions of this, and you should go find them, because this is looking very, not exactly what I had pictured. And that happens. I used to get discouraged. Make me put something down and not go back to it for a while. But then I realized I'm doing this for me. And as long as I'm happy with it, who cares? If it's not exactly the way I wanted it to be, it doesn't have to be. Excuse me. Don't get me wrong, I still get frustrated from time to time. This isn't one of those times. Because it's not that it's bad. It's just different than what I had pictured in my head. I don't dislike it, really. It's a little more acid rain in color than I was going for. There's some great figures, acid rain. I just wish they weren't so damn expensive. You know what I can't stand are people who rag on like Hasbro, especially back when they were still doing the G.I. Joe 2-packs and 3-packs. These people would complain and complain and complain about the price. I was getting back, just a couple years back, getting 3 figures for 25 bucks or 2 figures for 20 bucks, sometimes less, depending on where you were. I thought that was a damn good deal. And the people would complain and complain and complain. Hasbro's charging too much for repaints and this, that, and the other. And those very same people will drop 50 bucks on a repainted Acid Rain figure. I just don't understand it. Alright, so it's actually coming out. Like I said, it's not bad, different than I expected, but still looking good. Now, in here, these look like some sort of motors, not motors, but joints. So I'm going to paint those silver, because I have a feeling those would be worn pretty quickly as this thing moves around. Alright. Alright. So let's keep this, go with red. There are those red eyes in there. And I'm going to try and paint them. See if I can get that. There. Looks pretty good. Now, to tie it all together, I think I'm going to do a wash. And then a little dry brushing on top. Why? Because the wash will fill in all the nooks and crannies. And I'm going to use a brown. This is the Citadel Shade Agrax Earth Shade. And I load up my brush, and then I start putting it on. And you're going, you just painted all that silver. What are you doing? I'm going over it. It'll pop more, actually, when I get this on. And this will help kind of blend and hide any issues I might have. With what I did. Even out the paint almost. See how much darker it is on the head now. The last thing I'm going to do is go back in and do those cool shapes. I'm trying to figure out what color to do. Not quite sure. So I'm getting a similar effect that I was trying to get with the Gundam markers using this wash. It's filling in all the details, making them stand out a little more. That's good. I'll take it. Now I am going on this pretty thick. The beauty about a wash is if you dry your brush just even a little bit, it'll suck some of that wash back into the brush, and you can reposition it, spread it around some more. I'm pretty thick with this. So see how it sucks it up. This is where wearing gloves would come in handy, as I'm about to do the tail. Now, I will say I'm not entirely happy with how dark the light color got, so I might go back in and do a little touch up on that. Not sure though, we'll see. I'm just trying to brush off some of this excess wash, lighten it up a little. There, I don't even have to go over it with the paint. Just wipe some of it off. Okay, where we're at so far. I don't know what you can see in the. Hopefully the pictures come out okay. Now to paint these little shapes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pentagons. Let's paint these pentagons. You know what? I am going to go with red. Seems like an appropriate color. Now, it's not completely dry. There's still wash on here. And that's okay, because all it's going to do is mix in with my paint a little bit. I'm okay with that. I don't know what these are. Maybe there's some sort of sensor. You know, like a heat sensor or something. Lets the wolf know where its prey is. There's a couple on this side. There we go. Clean the brush. Come back. It's looking interesting. Still not what I was expecting, but I'm not going to complain. All right. I do want to do a little dry brushing, so using my cheapy Michaels brush. This one's been really used. So what you want to do is put a little paint on the brush and then get most of it off. And the way I do it is I just rub the paintbrush on this little piece of paper. And now, hopefully, if it works right, I can go through do a little dry brushing, not too much. There are people who do a lot of dry brushing, and there's people who don't. There are people who do no dry brushing. I know quite a few people who don't dry brush at all, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of animosity, I guess, in the customizing world for some reason between people. There are people who dry brush and people who don't, and people get into big arguments over dry brushing, of all things. Just dry brushing over paint. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I found myself in some of those arguments, and I don't understand why. Alright. Doesn't make sense. Stuff people argue over. Alright. One last thing. I'm going to go back with the silver one last time. Touch up a couple of these spots that I want silver because they've gotten a little dark. Maybe add a couple more. I want this to look like it's been out in the field working. Tracking. I will say that this, if it works out the way I planned, will be going to a Joe character. Not going to say which Joe character, but if you know Joe's and you pay attention, I'm sure you can figure out who this will go to. And if not, just wait. I'll make the figure. Alright, let's see. Looks pretty good to me. A little messy. I don't mind. Calling it done. So, there you have it. Thank you for watching. Hope you had a good Easter holiday, whether you celebrate it or not. If it's just a Sunday, I hope it was a good Sunday. If it was your Easter Sunday, I hope it was a good Sunday. And thanks for watching.